There are many times when it's good and proper, right indeed, morally right, to challenge the system. But if the system is there, it's very difficult not to use it. And the system allows for the present government, for any government who happens to be in office now, to remain in office until 2025 without an election. As we are a parliamentary democracy, a general election, no matter how much people bellyache for it, is not going to happen. I think there is a very small option for a general election, and that is only if the new Prime Minister were to reach out to the opposition and propose some sort of government of national unity to get us through both the national and the international crisis that faces us. These are extraordinary times. This would also be an opportunity to bridge the gap between the system as it stands and the need to demonstrate democratic accountability. Our system is clearly wobbling. We need everything we can do to demonstrate that it is wholesome and just. Whoever becomes the next Prime Minister should reach out to Labour and to the SNP, and this may well repair a lot of the damage that has been done over the last few years, particularly since Brexit. I don't think I will be the first to encourage bucking the system. Indeed, in many ways, that's what Kwasi Kwarteng tried to do. But his efforts came across as greedy. Kwasi Kwarteng, as one of my friends pointed out the other day, is probably the most academically able of all the chancellors we've had in the last 100 years. I mean, look at his record. He was a King's Scholar at Eton, as indeed was Boris Johnson and John Maynard Keynes. He got a double first from Cambridge in history and classics. He was a Kennedy Scholar at Harvard University. He had a PhD in economic history from Cambridge University. I mean, you can't get much better than that, and yet at the same time he was a twit. So having a good academic background is no guarantee of competence, and following the system is no guarantee of doing the right thing. We need somebody who is brave enough to break through the system and recognize that there are moral issues that probably are bigger than the political issues that face us. The moral need for a general election to sort out the chaos created by the present government and by its predecessor is overwhelming. Whether that is something that can be achieved, and it certainly can't be achieved through the system as it stands, whether it's something that can be achieved is really something that can only be achieved by electing a Prime Minister who can see beyond the system. There is one, of course, who seems to be quite willing to buck the trend, who seems quite willing to be eccentric, and that, of course, is Boris Johnson. But Boris Johnson also comes across as somebody who is self-serving and who is short-sighted. We need somebody who can take the longer view. That leaves us with only two options: Rishi Sunak and Penny Mordaunt, because I don't think there's anybody else in the running. Ben Wallace has said he's not going to stand. We've heard nothing from Tom Tugendhat. And there are other people. I mentioned at least one of them in an interview that I did yesterday for Turkish television. But I don't imagine, even if his name was called up, that he would want to embrace the idea. And anyway, he has work to do in a ministry that he's actually managing very, very well. So, can we reach out to others? Yes. Should we? Yes. And we need to change the tone of this call. We need to make it clear that the goal is to reach out to the opposition. And the price of that, of course, will be a general election. But continually calling for a general election will not produce a result. I promise. Sadly.